Here's something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Little technical glitch, no big deal. We're going to figure this out. All right. Lots of work to do here. Let's get to it. Here are three big things to know this hour. Number one, General Motors about to get punished with a massive $1.6 billion hit because EV payments from the taxpayers going away at the end of the year. That's why. Just the beginning. Number two, President Trump has announced another drug-running boat has been blown out of the water in America's new war against the drug cartels in Central and South America. And number three, there we are. They said he couldn't make a difference. They said he couldn't make a difference. They said President Trump would be stuck in gridlock undone by Washington's red tape. They scoffed at the ambition, but here and now we stand witness to a presidency that is rewriting the expectations. The skeptics are shrinking, the doubters are stuttering, and Trump defying the scripts written for him. The most recent case in point, the 20-point plan for peace in Gaza after 2 long years of bloodshed. The left hounded Biden for years to get it done. They never imagined that Trump, who they call a hothead and a whole lot of other things, could bring about the fabled ceasefire, free hostages, and stabilize a region long mired by endless cycles of violence. Yet that is exactly what we witnessed. A deal, painstaking, born not of weakness or appeasement, but of leverage, resolve, and a clear-eyed strategy. The very shock of seeing Donald Trump historically caricatured as a disruptor playing the role of peacemaker in the Middle East, this upsets the narrative, you see. Now many who dismissed him as reckless are having to admit they were wrong. Here's an example.
Bob's a Democrat in Alpine, California. Bob?
Yeah, I've been very critical of Donald Trump over both of his presidencies in terms of his policies here domestically. But I have to give him credit for this incredible operation because you can imagine how difficult it is to get all of these countries on the same page. And they even mentioned Indonesia was going to be participating in what they're calling a peace council. And
yeah. Can you imagine that? California Democrats praising Donald Trump. It's kind of like pigs flying, isn't it? Never thought I would see the day. Even Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton, very begrudgingly, granted, gave Donald Trump the credit. You know who didn't? The ever-divisive Barack Obama, who took to social media to wax on and on about the peace deal without ever mentioning President Trump at all. You know, you messed up bad when even your fans over at CNN can't defend your actions. Listen to this.
President Obama put out this post talking about the peace deal and the prospects of it, and Don Jr. responded to it. I'll finish it for you. Thank you, Donald Trump. Honestly, it's not unfair to say if President Obama's going to write a whole post about a peace deal, maybe he should acknowledge the president that brokered it.
Well, hell certainly must be frozen over if CNN is agreeing with Don Jr. over Barack Obama. Yeah, what a day. But that's just how monumental this presidency has been so far. It's changing even the most never-Trump dead-set minds. Gaza, just the latest example. President Trump has been the key piece to ending over 8 wars at this point. The message has broken through. America is pivoting from endless war to negotiated peace, from perpetual missions to purposeful exit strategies. No more being dragged into conflicts without clear end games. The world is seeing that Trump, not the career diplomats or the perpetual war factions, calling the shots. It's why the Prime Minister of Pakistan says the world will remember President Trump as a man of peace and is nominating him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Listen to this.
Today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for Nobel Peace Prize because I genuinely feel that he is the most genuine and most wonderful candidate for Peace Prize because he has brought not only peace in South Asia, saved millions of people, their lives. And today, here in Sharm el-Sheikh, achieving peace in Gaza is saving millions of lives in the Middle East.
Millions of lives in the Middle East. I'd like to send that one out to all the critics who claim that Trump is in Bibi Netanyahu's back pocket. Doesn't really look like it now, does it? No, but I digress. Barack Obama dropped over 26,000 bombs in just 1 year in Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Libya, Yemen, Somalia, and Pakistan without congressional approval. Did you hear me there? 26,000 bombs all across the Middle East, no congressional approval. Donald Trump ended 8 years of war in 9 months. You tell me who deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. The world stage has been changed for the better, but here at home, America's no less transformed. Washington, D.C., a city once infamous for parts of the Capitol becoming lawless, now feels the presence of law and order again. Trump has reestablished law and order, restoring authority in the shadow of our monuments. Memphis, too, once emblematic of urban decline and crime, has seen a reset. The crackdowns, the pushbacks, the reassertion of law enforcement, these are not photo ops. They are the spine of a president determined that U.S. cities must be safe again, that American citizens deserve peace in their streets, that the decay of civic order stops and reverses. You see, it's just too hard to be a hater these days. That's what this Memphis resident is finding out and agreeing with. Listen.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I think it's true time. I was against pretty much everything that was coming towards Memphis. I was against this National Guard, all these different police units, all this military, all this. I was against all this to the end, right? I would be lying if I ain't just read them numbers and say that's a good thing for Memphis. So I'm out of this, y'all. I ain't got no more commentary on this National Guard here, the police, the over police. I ain't got to that, bro, because it's kind of hard for me to say they doing us wrong when they really getting convicted murderers. And fellas with guns off the street, bro. Hey, bro.
Hey, bro, there you are. Whether it's crime in Memphis and D.C. or calling Antifa for what it is, a terrorist organization, people are coming back to common sense when they can take a deep breath of relief, starting with public safety. Like that fella there. Look, the transformation's happening. Democrats are kicking and screaming, trying to call it everything except what it is, a success. A success. When we come back, a cure for TDS. Remarkable and true. Welcome to it. It's a good Wednesday to be here. It's the Steve Gruber Show. All right, as we talk about the successes of Donald Trump that the left would like you to believe have never happened, I mean, let's just be clear about this. The accomplishment in Gaza could not have been done by anyone else. The Abraham Accords, which began in earnest, the groundwork being laid in the first weeks of 2017, came to fruition at the end of 2020, August, September, and October of 2020. One last deal signed in December after the election. And for Joe Biden or Anthony Blinken to try to take any credit for any of it is bizarre. This reporter says it completely cured her of Trump derangement syndrome, or TDS. Listen to this.
I'm going to tell it to you anyway, because it's relevant to what we're talking about. I'm living proof that you can recover from TDS. I had strong Trump derangement syndrome for probably 8 years. This is one of the reasons I recovered from it. And by the way, it's much better to not have TDS. I'm happier, I'm healthier, more successful. I even think I got a little more attractive after I got rid of my Trump derangement syndrome. Yes.
Yeah, pretty cute, right? The pundits and left-wing politicians have lost the battle, and you just can't convince anyone of a sound mind that taking murderers and criminals off the street is a bad thing. Removing illegals is also a good thing. It's what's happening at the southern border. Decades of debates, talk after talk, bill after bill, plan after plan. Yet the southern border remained porous, a symbol of lost control. Under Trump's renewed presidency, that barrier becomes a frontier again. Walls, manpower, surveillance, zero tolerance. Decisive deportations were needed. These aren't gestures. They are policy with teeth. The moment when migrants, smugglers, cartels all learn that the era of negligent borders is over, it's a huge shift. And it changes how voters see safety, sovereignty, and trust in executive power. Mainstream outlets are just now realizing what a difference strong leadership actually makes. This NBC News reporter is utterly shocked when she stands there for herself and finds out the border is completely secure. Listen to this.
Trump says he secured the border.
Nobody's coming into our country now. We have the border totally stopped.
We're here in Texas to see what those changes look like on the ground.
We've got the most controlled border we've ever had in the history, and in my lifetime in the Border Patrol, and we're going to continue getting there.
In Eagle Pass, Texas, during the Biden administration, more than 2,000 migrants crossed into the U.S. in a single day. But now, under President Trump's policies, officers encounter just 20 migrants a day here. So the last time I was in Eagle Pass was 2 years ago, almost to the date, and I saw more migrants crossing at a single point in one day than I had in, at that point, 9 years of covering immigration. They were cutting through this barbed wire here and coming across the Rio Grande, sometimes with parents holding their children on their backs as they crossed the water. We saw a lot of rescues. We saw people bleeding as they came under this barbed wire right here, and then we saw hundreds gather under a bridge. They were taken in, processed, and then released either to ICE or elsewhere to pursue their asylum claims. Now it's a total change.
People aren't taking that risk to come across because the end of catch and release is a deterrent in itself. And then with the level of prosecutions we're doing for smugglers and for those entering the country illegally, you add that added deterrence.
We've been out here half the day now, haven't seen a soul. We patrolled the river, haven't seen anyone there either. What we're seeing and what we're hearing from the Border Patrol chief and the agents on the ground here is that anyone who crosses now is arrested, prosecuted, and turned back over into Mexico. You simply cannot cross through here anymore and claim asylum, no matter what your claim is.
No matter what your claim is. I guess some people, they've got to see it to believe it. And they're all believing it now, at least the ones not still blinded by that TDS. Trump does not rest only on defense. He also redefines what America's strength looks like in the modern world, including through clean energy. Take this new solar plant in New Iberia, Louisiana. Green New Dealers should applaud President Trump for delivering American-made green energy. If you want it, have it made here, would you please? Here it is.
First Solar, an American company busily finishing a build-out of its newest solar panel plant. All 2.4 million square feet of it. Truly an American-made product.
100% American-made product. This is American innovation, American technology, American manufacturing, American labor, American supply chain.
Well, this is the kind of energy independence we should all celebrate. Not foreign oil dependence, not vague green promises, but a real built-in-America answer to carbon, jobs, exports. When the Rust Belt sees solar panels made in the USA, in states like Louisiana, it changes minds. Energy can be patriotic, local, high-paying. Trump's administration insisted on made-in-America products, smashing the lie that green must be foreign or weak or un-American. Trump defies expectations, however you look at it. I look at all of his critics, jaws dropping, scrambling to fit Trump into their categories. Is he a hawk or a dove? Is he a populist or establishment? Is he a bully or a statesman? Their confusion reveals their weakness, their inability to imagine a leader who delivers this kind of change without fitting their molds or their monikers. So yes, the Gaza peace deal was the headline, but it's just the latest because when the world sees Trump stabilizing a major conflict, American cities returning to order, the border lockdown, and energy independence, even some who were sworn opponents must pause. What does this presidency tell you? That expectations are overrated, that the media narrative can be wrong, that voters, when shown results, can shift, that a leader who promises change can actually deliver. Trump is rewriting the playbook, not just campaigning, but governing, not just tearing down, but building, not just restoring, but reinventing. And in doing so, he's coaxing moderate hearts, unsettling skeptics, and proving what many of us always believe, that with resolve, audacity, and vision, he can change not only policy, but minds. What would your life look like if you finally felt confident in your body again, with the energy to enjoy it? My Pure Health uses breakthrough science and technology to uncover why your metabolism has turned off and then fixes it naturally. No shots, no exercise, just real food and a customized protocol designed for you. Men lose 35 to 50 pounds in 40 days, women 25 to 32 pounds, and more importantly, My Pure Health shows you how to keep it off for good. I did it, my friends. This is my program. Well, it was my custom program. You get your own custom program. Find out more today. If you want to lose weight and be serious about it, you don't want to take shots for the rest of your life, visit GruberHealth.com. Take the first step, GruberHealth.com. Real results, real food, real simple. GruberHealth.com. I'll be right back. This hour brought to you in part by PuroClean's Veterans Initiative, PuroVet. It's a program where veterans find purpose in property restoration and entrepreneurship, and we salute those who have served. 855-PuroVet. PuroVet.com. If you have a veteran in your family or you're a vet and you want a chance to own your own franchise and set up your own business and set your own course, this is your chance. PuroVet.com. It's a great deal. 855-PuroVet. Check it out. General Motors is going to face a $1.6 billion hit as tax incentives for those EVs are disappearing because of the big, beautiful bill. EVs are going to take a hit here because you're no longer going to pay for them. The EV tax credit ended last month. It was worth $7,500 for new EVs, up to $4,000 for used ones. General Motors has led the way in U.S. automakers with plans to convert production to an electric fleet of vehicles. They said in a regulatory filing yesterday that it will have to book charges, including non-cash impairment and other charge of $1.2 billion due to EV capacity adjustments, meaning it hasn't worked. There's also $400 million in charges, mostly related to contract cancellation fees and commercial settlements associated with EV-related investments. You see, remember when I told you way back when that the EV thing for General Motors would never work, and if they went down that road, they would be bankrupt? Remember when I said that over and over again? Well, here it is. If you don't have taxpayer money, it doesn't work. It doesn't compete in the free market. Speaking of EVs and incentives, if you got a water well in your yard, you already are halfway to a geothermal system. Just add a well connect in as little as 8 hours. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, you can do it. And the savings are huge. You'll cut your heating costs by up to half. You'll extend the life of your furnace because it's an add-on. Your furnace will only run on the coldest days of the year. The rest of the time, that well in your yard is creating the energy you need to heat and cool your home. It's the most affordable way to bring geothermal home. WellConnectGeo.com. But here's the thing. The incentives for these machines also going away at the end of the year. There are some government incentives. If you want to do it, now is the time. If you heat with propane, heating oil, you have electric heat, wow, are you paying a lot of money. Find out how to save that money and put it back in your pocket at WellConnectGeo.com. They're also looking for new companies to partner with to put them into people's homes all across the country. WellConnectGeo.com. New contractors, new opportunities. WellConnectGeo.com. I'll be back. Another big loss for Alex Jones. A little headline here for you that I thought I would share. Alex Jones' appeal of a $1.4 billion Sandy Hook judgment rejected by the Supreme Court for an appeal. He's been ordered to pay $1.4 billion in damages to the families of the victims of the 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School. The court did not explain the denial. They often don't. A Connecticut jury in 2022 awarded $965 million in damages to 15 plaintiffs defamed by Jones when the InfoWars host called the 2012 mass shooting and massacre, in which 20 kids and 6 adults were killed. He called it a hoax. Later, a judge added an additional $473 million in punitive damages. It's bankrupted Jones' operation, yet he is still on the air, still fighting his way through. But a big loss for Alex Jones is the financial death penalty, basically. It's a financial death penalty. I don't know where he goes with $1.4 billion. Everything he ever earns will never add up to that. So he's jammed. Here's something that I wanted to share with you. Chuck Schumer, who has, by the way, they voted again yesterday, the 8th time, trying to end the government shutdown. The Democrats blocked it, refused to play along, right? Refused to open the government up, holding America hostage for their demands. Even though 77 million Americans voted for Donald Trump and this government, the Democrats are preventing them from governing in many ways, preventing the government from even operating. It takes 60 votes in the United States Senate to get this done. They are refusing. Meanwhile, Chuck Schumer took time to encourage people to violence. Why? Because of the grand jury system. The grand jury is a fail-safe. It's how you take evidence presented to citizens like they've done in Virginia recently with Tish James and James Comey. Well, Chuck Schumer, listen to what he says here. He's pretty clear about calling for violence in my estimation. Listen.
It is just such a hallmark of tyrannical, autocratic, dictatorship societies that they use the prosecutorial department as a political weapon. It is a disgrace, and every American, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, moderate, people should be forcefully rising up against this.
Forcefully rising up against this. Sounds like a call to violence to me. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are the ones that say, oh, it's those white Christian men that are the danger. Really? I think it's comments like that I find dangerous. They must forcefully rise up against. What does that mean? That means violence. Being fomented by the minority leader in the United States Senate, Chuck Schumer. There you have it. There you have it. And speaking of agitators, the biggest one of all. The biggest one of all is Barack Hussein Obama. Look, when presidents end their term, they leave. George W. Bush went to Texas. George H.W. Bush left. Ronald Reagan went to California. You just go down the list. They leave. Not Barack Obama. He bought a mansion in D.C. and has stuck around and continues to stir the pot and agitate. Now he's involved with the redistricting in California, which, by the way, is going to lose for the Democrats because states like Indiana, North Carolina, Missouri, and others are now going to redistrict to add more seats to the Republican column and hang on to the House. It's a foregone conclusion almost at this point. And California, certainly no guarantee they're going to win Proposition 50 coming up here in November. Because if they were winning, would Barack Obama need to do this? Listen.
California, the whole nation is counting on you. Democracy is on the ballot November 4th. Republicans want to steal enough seats in Congress to rig the next election and wield unchecked power for 2 more years. With Prop 50, you can stop Republicans in their tracks. Prop 50 puts our elections back on a level playing field, preserves independent redistricting over the long term, and lets the people decide. Return your ballot today. Vote yes on 50.
Okay. Yeah, there he is, Barack Obama, trying to turn the tide in California. If California was doing so well in redistricting and violating their own laws, they have a public redistricting commission. It's the law. They're subverting their own law to subvert the will of the people and reduce to only a handful, maybe 3 or 4 Republicans in the entire state of California. Less than 10% representation in a state that votes just over 40% for Republicans. The gall is pretty remarkable, isn't it? By the way, here's something else. You know, you see, I spent a lot of time looking around, mining for information, because there's so many things that are at the top of the page. Other things get missed along the way, right? Other things get missed. How about this one? Fed Chair Jerome Powell saying that Trump's immigration policies of removing illegal aliens from this country has destroyed the American economy, destroyed it. Okay, this is what he said.
That's a big economic factor. So that will mean fewer people to work. You have anecdotal evidence of industries that are just having a hard time finding people. You don't see it in wages or anything like that at this point. You don't see, at least in the aggregate, you don't. But yeah, it's going to be a really important economic fact because that's new people who come into the workforce. They create their supply, but they also create demand. They create their own demand.
Oh, please,
and
enough.
Again,
this guy is one of the things that is up for debate. How much control does the executive have over these agencies? And is the Fed different than other agencies? Supreme Court's going to sort this out in this term. We'll find out. But the markets, for the record, the markets are going to open up this morning. 190 points for the Dow, 40 points for the S&P, over 200 points on the NASDAQ, setting all-time records. Gold, by the way, continues to soar. Gold is at $4,200, $4,200 an ounce. I said a week ago it was going to break 4,000 and go to 5. We're on the way. Silver almost $53 an ounce, setting all-time records. Silver could easily go to $80 or $90 an ounce at this point. Easily, $80 or $90 an ounce. It is a remarkable situation watching the metal go up. I hope you're in. Let's see. Silver is up 64% year over year. Gold up 55%. Don't you wish you had bought more? I wish you had bought more. I wish I had bought more. The best dog food you could buy comes from an American company, Great Lakes Pet Food. West Michigan. What a great company. I've been feeding my dogs Great Lakes Pet Food for years. Cody lived to be 16 and a half. Remarkable. For a blue heeler, pretty cool. Part of that thing, it's true for people too. Great nutrition, great results. If you want the best dog food you can buy, made in America, not Chinese junk that comes over here with God only knows what in it, get real chicken, real turkey, real pork, GreatLakesPetFood.com. It's what our dogs eat, man. Yours should as well. GreatLakesPetFood.com. By the way, any of the products you use here, go to SteveGruber.com. Send me some feedback. Tell me if it's working for you. We want to make sure you're happy. And we want to make sure you take care of the partners that partner with us. People like Great Lakes Pet Food. What a great company. When I come back, I'm going to talk about your health. We do it a lot here. I'll be right back on The Steve Gruber Show. All right, back to it now. Your good health is always a concern for us here. We talk about a lot of things when it comes to health. Environmental contamination, though, doesn't get the conversation that it should. I mean, how much junk is floating around out there? And when I talk about this, people spend their time talking about climate change. It doesn't concern me in the least. Environmental contaminants, they concern me a lot. All right, joining me now is Dr. Ben Tapper, Director of Epigenetics at the Wellness Company. Doctor, nice to see you today.
Steve, it's good to be here. Good morning.
All right, you're a doctor. Some things are genetic, some things are environmental, right? And when it comes to cancer and brain fog and other issues, one of those things, one of those suspects is microplastic. It's in your toothpaste, it's in your dish soap, it's in every product you can imagine, and then some microplastics, just tiny microscopic beads of plastic in your toothbrush. Apparently makes your teeth cleaner, but also it collects in your liver, in your brain, in your bloodstream. It's a real problem, isn't it?
It's everywhere. It's massive. I mean, people don't realize it. Go to the grocery store and look at how many processed foods in our plastic. It's everywhere. It's in our deodorant.
Whoa. Food? I didn't know that one. Come on, really? Why would you have microplastic in food? It's not food, it's plastic.
Right. Well, most of our food is wrapped. Like you go to the meat store, it's wrapped in plastic. Look at the veggies. I mean, it's everywhere. Even in the lining of aluminum cans, there's a thin layer of plastic. So it's a real issue, Steve.
So if I drink my Diet Coke, I should definitely drink it out of an aluminum can, is what you're saying, because that's healthy for the boys and girls, right?
Yeah. The only safe option is glass, really.
For beverages.
That's why I drink out of glass, and it's, everything I consume, I stay away from the plastic.
So when it comes to water bottles, I mean, they sell water for more than they sell gasoline. Great marketing plan, by the way. But it's all in plastic bottles, disposable plastic bottles. You're saying that sheds this stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, really, the average American, studies have shown that over 40,000 to 120,000 microplastics, or what we call nanoplastics, have been found in the body, floating around the bloodstream, the liver, the kidney, the brain. So it's a real issue. It absolutely is a real issue. Studies have shown that it crosses the blood-brain barrier, which is absolutely scary, because that means it's floating literally throughout the whole body. And, it has been linked to a lot of health issues, Steve.
Yeah, and so whether it's a pizza box, Anthony just said those rotisserie bags that chickens come in that are all hot and have plastic in them, right? Those things would concern me. Right. But it's also in the air. I couldn't believe this when I read this. I'm looking at one of these studies. Air exposure, and that will jack up the amount of plastic in your body. This can't be good.
Right. That's why I recommend having an air purifier at home as well. But it raises some concerns, because we have a massive issue with hormonal imbalances in this country.
Sure.
We have an inflammation issue in this country, and these plastics are they're estrogen disrupting chemicals like BPA in these plastics, and so we have a huge epidemic of issues, of cardiovascular issues, neurological issues, hormonal issues. And, you wonder if a lot of it has a direct correlation to these plastics.
We talk a lot on this program, and Ivy and I do, because we talk about taking the right vitamins, eating right, making sure you do the right thing. But if you go to the store and you get fresh vegetables and put them in one of those little thin, real thin little plastic bags that are in the produce department, that can be a problem. So how do we get rid of this? And more importantly, what does it do? Does it give me brain fog? Does it make me feel lethargic? Does it kind of just battle me health-wise? We're doing all the right things, and then you have that maybe reduces some of the good things you're doing, right?
Right. I mean, all of the above. It can affect the nervous system, so that can affect everything. I mean, studies have shown that, again, it crosses the blood-brain barrier, but, hormonal issues, inflammatory issues, cardiovascular issues, you name it. So, there are a couple things we can do naturally. Fasting is a very good thing, but, there's a new supplement that I recommend on the market. It's Plast Detox. It is the only supplement on the market that I've ever seen like this. Is targeted, designed to go in and help remove a lot of these toxins in the body. So it's called, Plast Detox from the Wellness Company. It's one of the best on the market, Steve.
All right, so and I'm going to talk more about that in a second, but you do all the right things, but if you're drinking out of plastic, don't do that. What else can I do to limit exposure so that I can decrease the possibility that it collects in my liver, my blood, my brain, my kidneys?
Right. Again, first of all, we have to understand where our food is coming from, and first and foremost, and what it's wrapped in. Avoid the industrial, highly processed foods. That's step one. Okay, and then get glass containers. Remove all the plastic Tupperware in your home. use ceramic or glass. That's what I recommend. And I don't drink out of plastic water bottles, and try to eliminate, how many people are drinking out of aluminum cans, not realizing there is a microplastic protective coating around that inside that can, and that will leach into our drinks. And not only that, look at the mushroom industry. All the mushroom industry is growing. Mushrooms act like animals they eat, and they're grown. 99% of mushrooms are grown in plastic bags. So it's a
Wow.
real issue here, and it is coming across in our food industry, and mostly our processed foods. So avoid the processed foods. Eat real food. That's what I recommend, and just be highly cautious of it. So many people just don't even think about it.
I'm going to have to go do an exorcism on my beverage cooler, apparently, because, our beverage cooler is full of aluminum. We've got some plastic water bottles, but good advice. All right, so it's called Plast Detox. How long does this take to cycle through, and what are the benefits?
Well, it goes to work right away. So again, I don't want to just say we can solely rely on Plast Detox. It is a very, very powerful heavy hitter in removing these microplastics or nanoplastics in the body. It is the only supplement on the market like it. But again, we need to, I always say fasting is very important as well. But the Plast Detox it does wonders for removing those in the body. But highly recommend that, Steve. But yeah, take care of the body, and the body can be well.
Do all the right things, but be mindful of your environment. You got to be mindful of your environment. I don't worry about climate change. I worry about things like this, microplastics. Doctor, always a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Yep. Thanks, Steve.
Terrific information. Plast Detox from the Wellness Company. You can learn more, twc.health/Gruber. You can find out more, and you can always save money at the Wellness Company. Look, I just told Ivy before we came on, make sure we've got this on the way. It's a new product. I'm going to do it. You should join me. Plast Detox. You can find out more, twc.health/Gruber. Look, I want to think clearly. We eat right. I don't want to hinder that at all. Do you? twc.health/Gruber. I'll be right back. All right. So here's the thing, Ivy, if you could help me with this. I got people here on the social media feeds asking us to post the information as to what we just had there. It's the wellness company, twc.health/Gruber. You can find this Plast Detox product, all right? And find out more, twc.health/Gruber. I got people asking here, so let's go ahead and post that up if we could, please. Donald Trump touts another U.S. airstrike near Venezuela killed 6 drug smugglers. Apparently, we're going to keep doing this. You know, who's going to run the boat? Hey, you want to run the boat out there? We'll give you $100,000. Yeah, but what am I going to do with $100,000 when my body is in 100,000 pieces? Well, there is that. There is that. Intelligence confirmed the vessel was trafficking narcotics, was associated with an illicit narco-terrorist network, and Donald Trump is having none of it. He is attacking the drug cartels, trying to save Americans. Under my standing authorities as Commander-in-Chief this morning, the Secretary of War ordered a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel affiliated with a designated terrorist organization, DTO, conducting narco-trafficking in the U.S. Southcom area of responsibility just off the coast of Venezuela. Intelligence confirmed that vessel was trafficking narcotics, was associated with illicit narco-terrorist networks, and was transiting along a known DTO route, designated terrorist organization route. Yeah, these speedboats they're not pleasure boats out there, boys and girls. These speedboats are running drugs. That's the way that is. And so we continue to hammer. It's going to be hard to find people to drive the boat or ride the boat or deliver the drugs, although some of them might be desperate enough to go for it anyway. But we are going to continue. The war on drugs is a real war now. And I stand by my prediction that we will be involved more heavily in Venezuela to go after these narco-terrorist organizations. We should do the same potentially in Mexico. We need to shut these operations down. We need to defend America. And if that means taking out drug runners, well, that's what it means, my friends. We've got a lot more to come today. 2 more hours here on the program. We're going to talk about men and girls' locker rooms. We got to stop that. And the largest nonprofit ward in the Delaware attends profit over the poor. We'll be back. something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. Yeah, I do. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent. Come on, man. We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Well, it certainly is. Fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom every single day. Who do you want in your foxhole? This is a question you have to answer because, look, it's not getting any easier from here. Oh, no, the opposition is agitated. Kinetic, actually. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, another curveball for Republicans in their goal of holding on to the United States Senate. Maine's Governor Janet Mills has announced that she's joining the race to attack Senator Susan Collins and become a Democrat senator from Maine. Number two, President Trump planning to meet with China's dictator Xi Jinping. The meeting, set to happen October 31st, November 1st, will take place in South Korea. And number three, a lot of different things to work through this hour, but I want to start with something bittersweet, all right? In case you missed it yesterday, a day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk, his birthday, October the 14th. And it came with a very big honor at the White House. And if you missed it, I wanted you to see it. I did. I want you to be part of this. Charlie Kirk received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. His widow, Erica Kirk, very grateful, as you can imagine, there with the president and so many more. Listen.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to Charles James Kirk. Accepting on behalf of Charlie is his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk was one of the most influential American political figures of his generation. At just 18 years old, he founded Turning Point USA and grew it into the largest conservative youth organization in the nation. For over a decade, he tirelessly traveled the country, leading a movement to restore respect for our founding principles, reawaken our national identity, and inspire a renewed spirit of religious devotion. He was one of the great debaters and communicators of his time. Despite receiving repeated threats, he remained undeterred and modeled courage, logic, humor, and grace to the next generation. On September 10th, 2025, at age 31, Charlie Kirk was assassinated while addressing a group of students. The United States honors him as a martyr for truth and freedom.
Truth and freedom. President Trump took a moment to talk about Charlie as well. Here's part of what he said yesterday at the White House. Listen.
1 month after Charlie's death, we still feel the terrible shock and the pain of his loss, like just about nobody I can think of. Charlie Kirk was one of a kind. He was unstoppable, and he really was. Boy, when he had an idea in his head, he would call me, "Sir, please, you haven't done it yet." I said, "Charlie, relax, just relax." He didn't relax. He'd call me the next day again. It got it done. But he was like indomitable and always will be. He's really irreplaceable. Nobody can replace him. But they're going to do great, but you can't replace that kind of person and that kind of talent, frankly. The word talent is an important word, but that kind of talent. So we hold his memory in our hearts forever. Every single day of this administration, we will continue to carry out the mission for which he lived, and he really did. He lived for this country. He lived for his wife and his family, but he lived for this country, too. In Charlie's honor, we will continue like we have been to fight, 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 and to win, win, win. We're going to win so much.
What an honor. What an honor. He can't be replaced. But it doesn't mean we can't work in the same efforts to save this country. You and I. We can do things to honor this country in the memory of Charlie Kirk. I believe that. What a horrible thing. Haven't heard much about it, have you? Voluminous amounts of evidence. Voluminous amounts. And for anybody who says, well, you know, they're not showing us anything. Of course they're not showing you anything. It's a death penalty case. In Utah, and it's probably the same everywhere that has the death penalty. In Utah, though, there will be 12 jurors who will decide whether or not the death penalty goes through if they get to that point in the trial, if there's not a plea deal. All right? In order to get the death penalty in Utah, you have to have 12 for 12. No deviation. If one juror says no death penalty, there's no death penalty. All 12 have to agree, and that's why the evidence is being so closely guarded. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a prosecution. It's what has to happen. It's how it has to be played. And no, because you're curious or you're a podcaster doesn't mean you're entitled to see the videos and the evidence. It's not how it works. All right, so wake up. I want to shift now to the government shutdown. Ongoing, what will be day 13, 14, 15, something like that. And the damage that it is doing. Georgia farmers speak for farmers nationwide. They're calling on the 2 Democrat senators in their state to vote to open the government. It takes 60 senators, including 7 Democrats, to reopen the government. Farmers in Georgia are demanding it. Listen.
I'm Clay McKinnon. I'm a South Georgia farmer.
Hey, I'm James Corbett from Corbett Farms.
Hello, my name is Chan Grantham.
I'm John Smith. I'm from Broxton, Georgia. I'm a multi-generational farmer.
My name's Tyler Dean. I'm a multi-generational farmer from Broxton, Georgia, South Georgia.
This is Robert Dickey, peach grower here in Middle Georgia.
We're in pretty desperate times right now. We got devastated by Hurricane Helene last year.
We suffered about $3 million in infrastructure and crop damage.
Had a bad year this year.
This is harvest season. We need to be planning for next year.
We've got a bunch of promises, but no money.
You know, our equipment cost is up, fertilizer, seed, everything is up by the price of our commodities. We're asking our elected officials to just please come together.
I'm asking y'all to come together.
And I'm just asking that our elected officials, come together.
We need our elected officials to try to get together to open up the government.
I'm asking y'all to please pass the Clean Continuing Resolution Bill.
Farmers desperately need our government open.
Because the USDA is essential, very essential for agriculture.
Because USDA is essential to our operations, everyday farming and agriculture.
The USDA is essential to what we have going.
You get it. The farmers want action. So does Donald Trump. Hear his comments yesterday on the shutdown. Listen.
Democrats are getting killed on the shutdown because we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we were opposed to. So we're being able, and they're never going to come back in many cases. So we're being able to do things that we were unable to do before. So we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we wanted to close up or that we never wanted to happen, and now we're closing them up. And we're not going to let them come back. The Democrats are getting killed. And we're going to have a list of them on Friday, closing up some of the most egregious, socialist, semi-communist, probably not full communist, we're saving that for New York, but semi-communist programs, and we're closing them up. We're not closing up Republican programs because we think they work. So the Democrats are getting killed, but they're not telling the people about that. I say it, I haven't said it probably as bluntly as I just said it, but so we are closing up Democrat programs that we disagree with, and they're never going to open again.
Never going to open again. We'll see how this plays out. A lot of finger pointing. But farmers, government workers, they need relief. 2 weeks on. It's the Steve Gruber Show. All right, so how much evidence do you need that it's a really bad idea for men to be in girls' locker rooms and bathrooms and in private areas? How much evidence do you need? I mean, the stories keep popping up of men getting access to these areas, pretending to be women, and being allowed to do so because it's a no judgment zone or some such nonsense. Kendall Teets, that is an investigative reporter at Defending Education. Kendall, thank you for being here.
Hi, great to be here. Sorry.
Good to have you. Department of Education documents show a sex offender, an Arlington school board member, swapping emails about girls' locker rooms. What is this all about?
Yeah, so through public records requests, Defending Education came into copy with some of these FOIA documents that basically found that Richard Cox, a registered sex offender who identifies as a woman, faces more than 20 charges after allegedly exposing himself in women's locker rooms at multiple Arlington, Virginia pool facilities in both the Arlington Public School pools as well as Arlington County pools. And it's important to note that these Arlington Public School pools were available to members of the community in the evening. And in the case of Richard Cox, biological men are allowed to use these facilities in these community hours.
So let me just ask you this. I mean, this is kind of a basic biological question, but let's just get right to it. He's 58 years old, is Richard Cox. 20 charges, as you mentioned. A registered sex offender who identifies as a woman, exposing himself. Was he exposing women's parts?
No, I don't think so.
No. There's the answer everybody's looking for. No, it's a dude pretending to be a woman exposing himself to actual women and girls in the locker room, right? I mean, that's what this is. Let's just call it for what it is. Let's be honest, all right?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned at the outset, it's important to note that he was communicating with the school board member, almost as a member of the community, and he was saying, she is now a sitting school board member, basically without any apparent vetting or inquiry into who this individual was. She touted her record as an ally to the LGBT community to really secure his vote. She expressed concern about potential transphobic comments from staff and told this 58-year-old man that he should be able to use the showers and changing rooms that, he is most comfortable using. So in this case, as you mentioned, that meant the same facilities used by prepubescent girls.
Yeah, so how long does this insanity go on? It's not like this kind of a story is even unusual anymore. We've heard about transgendered women, which are men, in prisons impregnating the women there. We've heard about stories like this is not unusual. This is disgusting, and it's obvious that it's a problem. Why do we allow it to continue in Arlington or anywhere else?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, this has been an issue for Northern Virginia. It's really been ground zero for this. And I, do think it's important to note that Richard Cox allegedly repeated this behavior 6 more times in both Fairfax and Arlington County facilities. So not only is it a breakdown in policies at the Arlington Public School as well as Arlington County facilities, basically allowing people to go into these restrooms and locker rooms based on their self-identified gender. But it's also an issue where he was clearly allowed to repeat this behavior as not only a man, but also a registered sex offender.
Yeah. So on October the 28th, Cox, sex offender, who signed his name as Ricky Cox, R-I-K-I, emailed the campaign email of a current school board member, Kathleen Clark, about an issue. I want to read this to the folks so they understand how deviant and dastardly they are. I am a member of the LGBT and specifically transgender community. The issue is that transgender people, including minors, are disproportionately homeless and use places like the county swimming pools to shower. But let me be clear, this is not only an opportunity to be clean about and feel part of the community. However, solely because of complaints of a transgender person in the locker room, Washington Liberty swimming pool made a rule that people using the shower but not the pool must use the single isolated locker room away from everyone else, like there's some kind of freak or something. Yeah, that'd be right. Some kind of freak or something. Look, We're providing you with a facility to shower and do as you need by yourself, a private facility. What could possibly be wrong with that?
Yeah, and he even went on to say that he told the school board member if there is any complaint, she was just to clarify, she was running at the time and she now sits on the school board. But he said if there's any complaint, then that person should be invited to use the single locker room. And he said, given the choice, I am sure they will choose to remain with the community and learn to be inclusive with everyone else.
All right, so this court case now, the sex offender case, 20 charges. I would hope that this is going through the process. Any idea where it is in the legal process?
I know that he has been in court and faces a multitude of charges. He obviously has repeated this in multiple counties, and I believe his trial is ongoing at this time.
All right. Well, I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. We need to stop the insanity. We need to protect women and girls. That's what Title IX is all about. It's what our laws are about. We need to protect those that can't protect themselves, and that includes women and girls. This is nonsense. It has no place in a civilized society. If people don't want to be exposed or be exposed to by men, then they shouldn't be. I appreciate you being here, Kendall. Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. All right. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You can always find out more at stevegruber.com. Send me an email. Tell me what's on your mind. Always wanting to hear from you guys. If you're doing a work with one of our sponsors here in the program, I want feedback on those sponsors. And make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms as well. Slap the like button. Follow us. Become part of this movement to save America. We need your help every single day. Roll up your sleeves. Work harder. Be better. We'll be back. Well, the presidential library for Donald Trump is going to end up in Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade's college. An activist tried to block it from happening, but a Miami-Dade Circuit Court judge Monday declined the activist's request to immediately block Miami-Dade College from officially deeding over downtown land to Donald Trump for his presidential library. That's where it will be, in the free state of Florida. Judge Marvel Ruiz, presiding over a lawsuit alleging the college violated Florida's Sunshine Law last month when trustees voted to transfer the land to the state, left the door open to temporarily stop the move in the future. The hearing, the first in the case brought last week by historian Marvin Dunn, was only about whether the college is allowed to proceed with the deed transfer while the case moves forward. Though trustees voted to convey the land to the state last month, as of Monday, the land is still in the college's possession. Yeah, they want to try to prevent Donald Trump's presidential library. It will happen, and it'll be a lot better than that mess, that boondoggle, that blivet in Chicago. Barack Obama building this bizarre building that was supposed to be fully funded. Hundreds of millions of dollars. They've gotten $1 million in total. Barack Obama took land from the city of Chicago. It's a disaster if you were not aware. It's just a complete mess. Anyhow, Miami-Dade is where Donald Trump's library will end up. And by the way, it will probably be finished before Barack Obama's is even partway down the road. Here's something for you. Here's something. Do you remember Pop Rocks, the candy that would, pop and bang and do stuff in your mouth. Yeah. How about a new product from Victory Nutrition International called Trim Rocks? It's fun, it's fizzy, supports your metabolism and energy naturally. Just pop it in your mouth and let it work. As it pops away, it features guayusa, green coffee beans for a gentle plant-based energy lift, camu camu for immune support. Trim Rock supports fat burning, blood sugar balance, and steady energy. Purple tea extract helps with weight management, helps stabilize blood sugar naturally. Only from Victory Nutrition International. This is a great company. We've done the research. Ivy dug into it. All sorts of science-backed information about the 6 products. They only have 6 products. They're all terrific. Go to vni.life/Gruber. You'll get 20% off. You're going to like Trim Rocks. It's fun. We use it. It's fun, and it keeps us moving along, and I love it. vni.life/Gruber. Promo code Gruber, all right? Check that out. Trim Rocks. You're going to dig it. I do. You will, too. And I'll be right back. All right, what happens when nonprofits play games and really end up working for profit and not for the things that they're supposed to be doing? What happens when hospitals take tens of millions of dollars and say, look, we're going to help out those that are less fortunate, get rid of crippling bad debt, and instead pad their bottom line? That's the story coming out of Delaware. Peter Pitts is the former associate FDA commissioner and president of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest. He joins me now to discuss this story. Peter, nice to have you on the program.
My pleasure. Thanks very much.
And my concern as I read this story is it's probably not isolated. That's my concern. There are 600 hospitals in America today, this has been true for a while, that are teetering on insolvency. Rural hospitals, other hospitals, and yet a hospital like this gobbles up, what is it, $50 million? That could have helped some other hospitals that really needed the help. Tell us what's going on in Delaware.
I mean, it's outrageous in Delaware, in New York, where I'm sitting, and really across the country. Hospitals are the biggest expense in American healthcare, over 30%. I mean, everybody focuses on pharmaceuticals, which is about 11%. Hospitals are where the money is, and 60% of all hospitals in the U.S. are not-for-profit hospitals. So it's like Willie Sutton, the bank robber, said, that's where the money is, that's why he robs banks. So you got to look at where the problem is. Most nonprofit hospitals, about 80%, take in more in tax breaks and incentives than they give out in charity care. That's called the fair share deficit. And nationally, in 1 year, that is about $25 billion. That could pay off amazing amounts of medical debt for almost, all Americans across the country. And this is because not-for-profit hospitals operate, like you said, like for-profit hospitals on a fee-for-service basis. They don't focus on getting the patient better. They focus on charging for individual tests, and that's wrong. When you don't measure value in patient outcomes, the whole system gets skewed, and there's really no oversight at all, certainly not on the federal level, and not on the local level where it really needs to be.
Yeah, so how do they get away with it? Look, if I set up a nonprofit, they're watched very closely. If I do something wrong that doesn't line up exactly with the rules from the Internal Revenue Service, the penalties are massive. Why do profits for hospitals and money being shipped from taxpayers to these alleged nonprofit facilities, why do they get away with it? What's happening?
Well, the straightforward answer is nobody's looking. And they're not looking oftentimes on purpose. Because when you look at how these not-for-profit hospitals spend their money, tens of millions of dollars on political contributions.
Political contributions. So hold on right there. So money transfers from the taxpayers to a nonprofit hospital to allegedly do X, Y, and Z, and they give to political campaigns? So the taxpayers, money is just being transferred to support a political agenda.
My organization is a 501c3. If I did that, I would lose my designation and I'd probably hold up in front of a judge. Hospitals get away with it. It's awful. And they hide behind their PR because in many communities, the not-for-profit hospitals is the name on the back of Little League uniforms, for example. And this issue is not to disrespect the doctors and the nurses and the people that work in the hospitals. They do fantastic work. They're really heroes in their community. And they're being incredibly disrespected by their management that is getting paid millions of dollars a year. That's another issue. The salaries these guys pay themselves, outrageous, and nobody's looking.
And not only would you get hauled in front of the judge, as you mentioned there, you'd probably get tossed in jail. Peter, you get tossed in jail because, these are strictly governed, heavily regulated. If you have a nonprofit and you deviate from the specific laws that deal with such things, the penalties are huge, and you'd be in jail. I'd be in jail. And I get it. The politicians don't want to shut down a hospital, right? That's the thing. The hospital has them over a barrel a little bit. Okay, go ahead, call us out on this. We'll just shut the hospital down. Games like that get played, don't they? Threats against the community.
They certainly do, and it resonates because in a lot of these communities, certainly smaller communities, there are not a lot of media outlets to really have the opportunity to tell the truth like we're doing right now. And what happens is public loses trust in their local institutions. They look elsewhere to go. The financial situations get even worse. But what doesn't change is management. What doesn't change is that salaries are brought more in line. And what doesn't change is how they rank themselves relative to success, which is not number of procedures done, but in outcomes of patients getting better.
Yeah, so here it is. A professor of accounting and health policy at Johns Hopkins reports that most hospitals in the past run by volunteers, the candy stripers and different people that were there, right? And patients rarely paid for care, but it's not that way anymore. And in fact, hospitals are cashing in on the fear that they will go away and people will lose their health care. It's more fear-mongering to extort money from the government. That's the way I read this. Am I off base?
No, that's exactly right. And not only that, they use programs like what's called the 340B program, which allows hospitals to buy pharmaceuticals at radically reduced prices, even lower prices than the VA gets for our veterans.
Really?
And then the hospitals turn around And rather than giving those drugs to people that need charity care, they charge full price to people with full insurance. And when they market their services, they don't they don't put commercials on TV saying, hey, if you're out of luck, if you don't have insurance, if you really need help, come to our hospitals, we'll take care of you for free.
Yeah.
They advertise expensive services to people with full insurance to bring in the money. That's why they're operating like for-profit institutions. That's got to end. It's not going to end until we look at the problem and put their tax breaks at risk.
How remarkable. You get the pharmaceuticals, whatever they get, at a deep discount or even for free from some of these pharmaceutical companies that are also trying to look good, right, and try to do their part. So you get the product for free, and then you sell it at full retail. That's a great way to make the bottom line enhanced. That's for sure. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, if local government doesn't get in the game here, nothing's going to happen. We talk about increased oversight from Washington. I think there's quite enough of that over a whole range of issues. I think these issues have to be done on the local level. Everybody at a state, the local mayors know the people that run the hospitals. Oftentimes they're in cahoots. That's got to be brought out as well. So sunshine is often the best medicine when it comes to fixing the hospital problem on the local level.
Is there any place in government we can look today where it's not too big, where it hasn't gotten out of control, where it doesn't abuse the taxpayer money? I mean, it's just one example after another. Peter Pitts, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, if I ran a nonprofit that way, I'd get bracelets, better known as handcuffs, and my day in court, and then my time in prison. That's how that would work. Nonprofits are strictly regulated, but apparently not in the healthcare space. All right, so I got something good for you here. The chill is in the air. Lows are in the 40s now, and soon we're going to have that killer frost, right? The killing frost is coming to your neck of the woods, too. So it's time for a brand new flannel from Muskox. Man, bundle up, be cozy, get the best flannel shirt ever made, in my opinion. Muskox. Look, this is double-combed cotton. It is remarkable. The best flannel, according to Gear Junkie and Team Gruber. We all wear them. We think they're the best shirt ever. The company is out of Detroit, so it's an American company making the best flannel you can buy, 100% double-brushed cotton. Every flannel sold, $5 goes to defend wildlife in this country. It's a good program. It's a good company, and they're good people. You can find out more at gomuskox.com/Gruber. If you use the promo code Gruber, you're going to save $15. Look, these shirts, they're not discount shirts. They're high quality, but you will own it for the rest of your life. That is, unless your wife steals it from you, which happens in this house a lot. I'm not bitter. I'm just saying. GoMuskox.com is the place to find them. GoMuskox.com. Use the promo code Gruber. $15 off that Muskox flannel right now. Best flannel shirt you will ever own, I promise you. I'll be right back. We cover it all for you here every day as best we can, from the big headlines that you need to know about, sorting it out, giving you the best analysis, talking about things that other people don't spend much time on. Why? Because there's a lot going on in this world, and you got to get past the headlines, dig a little bit deeper. You do, to find out what's going on. Joining me now is Roger Wakefield. He is an expert on blue-collar jobs. He's the largest blue-collar influencer on social media. He's got about 1 million subscribers on TikTok and YouTube, 70 million likes between the two. I mean, he's out there talking about what? Jobs, blue-collar jobs. Roger, thank you for being here.
Steve, thank you for having me. How are you this morning?
I'm great. And in fact, I want to just turn right over here. America needs a headline that I had sitting here, and I wanted to grab this off the pile. Why America needs to tax incentivize tradesmen, not just college graduates. Boy, is that true. I mean, I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods, but trying to find a handyman or a carpenter, plumbers, electricians, HVAC people, look, there are jobs to be had, and they are good jobs. You want to drive an 18-wheeler? Man, you can make real money, and I'm talking about real money, $200, $250, $300, depending on what you're doing out there. A lot of jobs available, aren't there?
You know, there are, but, you know, take what you just said, driving an 18-wheeler. We've got autonomous cars. We're building autonomous planes. We're building autonomous 18-wheelers too. People need to get into a career, get into a job where they can literally come in and work with their hands. That's what I like about plumbing, electrical, HVAC, anything at all like that. That's going to help. Man, number one, it's going to help America. I think that we've got such a shortage in the trades right now that in the next few years, and I'm thinking just 4 to 5 years, doctors and attorneys are going to be making less money than plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs. And it's all going to be because of supply and demand.
Well, AI is not going to put a new furnace in your house. AI is not going to run air ducts through your house. AI is not going to run the electrical wires in your house, are they?
No, they're not. And most of the trades jobs right now, Steve, are being filled by kids right out of high school. Imagine how well someone that already has experience in the workforce, they understand being on time every day. They understand that, you know, we're required to actually work, not just sit around and play on our phone. You get people like that into the trades, they're going to exceed, they're going to make more money, they're going to do very, very well. And the good thing about it is they'll eventually be able to make more money probably than most of them are making right now.
Well, and here's the thing. If you don't go get a communications degree, of which there are 10 billion too many right now, and let's say you become an electrician and you start working toward that master electrician's license at 18 and then 19. By the time you're 25 years old, you might be a master electrician. Mm-hmm. I don't care where you are, building big things and doing great things. That doctor is going to be paying you. If you're a plumber and the toilet fails at midnight, mama needs that fixed. Who's going to show up? You are, because nobody's happy if the toilet's not working at midnight. If mom's not happy about that, there's going to be a plumber there. Could be a 22-year-old kid making big money doing it. Look, if you hang out your own shingle and hire other people your age, you could scale a company and be making millions. How do I know? I see it happening all the time right now with roofers and electricians and plumbers. It's true, isn't it?
It's very true. You know, and of course, we've all heard the old joke. The plumber shows up at the doctor's house. He does the work. He gets ready to leave. He hands him the bill. And the doctor looks at it and says, look, I don't make this much money. And the plumber says, I know. I didn't make that much money when I was a doctor either. But the truth is, there's such an opportunity. And I love that you talked about that. The 18-year-old gets out and goes through that process. And that's one of the biggest things that literally it's hard for people to understand. Well, I can't just move in to be a plumber or electrician, something like that. And I get it. But they can't take the pay cut is what they say. And you may take the pay cut for a year or two, but you're going to get back up to making what you were making. But then the potential, like you said, you can eventually open your own business. You can make as much money as you want to make.
That is 100% true. You know, and you're another guy out there saying the same thing for a while now. You've probably heard of him. His name's Mike Rowe, out there preaching the same gospel is, hey, we need people to work. And if you don't want $100,000 in college debt, look at the comparison. You get a communications degree, you're 22 years old. $100,000 in debt, maybe more, depending on where you went to school. Now you're 22 years old. You didn't go to college. You can read all the books you want. You can educate yourself. People do it throughout history. And you're 22 years old with zero debt. In fact, You've got money in the bank, a lot of it because you're investing, maybe in yourself, maybe in a home, maybe in the markets, maybe whatever. You've got possibilities. You're not hamstrung by debt. It's a big difference.
And the good thing is you've either got that money in the bank or you're investing it in your business, in
Right.
yourself, in social media. Social media is what I used to grow a business, and it grew so well that we sold it because I was doing so much on social media. I saw a bigger demand there.
Well, and that's a terrific story. And what a testimony. And here, let me ask you one other thing, because I hear this all the time. I don't believe it. Oh, Americans don't want to do these jobs. Please, they don't want to do the job for $6 an hour. But if you run a roofing crew and you're putting new roofs on houses and you grow that business and suddenly you got 3 guys working for you, then 5 guys, and then 10 and 15. I mean, talking about scaling. I mean, I just talked to a guy. He's 28 years old, started a roofing company. They'll do $15 million in sales this year. $15 million. He's 28 years old. And this is not an unusual story, just one that I heard in the last few days. This happens all the time. It's still America, isn't it?
And the good thing about that is if his numbers are right, if he's got a good business operating system, something like that, that's helping him meet just the numbers that are average, that means, would you say 15 million?
In gross?
13 million?
Yeah,
Yeah,
15.
he should be making 20% profit. So
That's
he's not
right.
just making $1 million a year. He's making like 2.5 million a year.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's not a bad career to get into.
Not when you're 28 years old. I've told my wife a number of times, if I could go back in time, I can't, but if I could go back in time, I'd have done things differently and would have scaled businesses of that sort. Anyhow, greatly appreciate you being here. You can come anytime, Roger. It's good news for people. Go to trade schools. Get a skill that cannot be replaced by AI, and there are lots of them. You just have to kind of map your way forward, sir. Thank you for sharing. Come back, like I said, anytime.
Steve, anytime I can help y'all, I'm here for you. I love what you do, brother.
Greatly appreciate you. There it is, making it happen. Blue-collar jobs, right? Good opportunity for lots of folks. And there's no reason you can't. It is still America, my friends. It is still the land of opportunity, despite what they tell you on the left. Oh, you're a victim. I'm not a victim, all right? And neither are you. Wake up, America. I came later. All right. Everybody settle down. Settle down. We've got what you need. We've got sports with Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. Yoshinobu Yamamoto threw a complete Game 3 hitter, while Max Muncy and Teoscar Hernandez each hit solo home runs, and the Los Angeles Dodgers took a 2-0 series lead over the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Championship Series with a 5-1 win last night in Milwaukee. Yamamoto threw 111 pitches, striking out 7 and walking just 1 batter. Game 3 of the National League Championship is tomorrow night at Chavez Ravine. 8 games in the National Hockey League last night. Winners included Toronto, Montreal, Edmonton, and Dallas. In the NBA preseason, there were 6 games. Winners included Cleveland, Houston, Denver, and Golden State. In college football last night, there were 3 games. Liberty outlasted New Mexico State 30-27. Arkansas State squeaked by South Alabama 15-14. And Florida International upset Western Kentucky 25-6. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
Wait a second, Brock. What was the baseball player's name?
Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's from Japan. And,
no kidding.
Yeah, he threw a complete game last night.
You mean he's not from Cleveland?
Young play for Detroit.
Wait. He did what? He threw a complete game?
111 pitches. Struck out 7, walked 1.
He can't play in Detroit.
There are a lot of other teams, too.
Yeah. Can't play in Detroit. You know, pitch count. How about win count? All right, I'm a little upset by that. How about we win baseball games?
So am I. I certainly would have left Scooble out there in the 7th inning.
Why wouldn't you?
And then you go from there.
Dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Then you haven't watched the Tigers a lot this year because A.J. Hinch did a lot of dumb things this year.
Yeah, I get it. All right, so a closed circuit announcement for anybody in Lower Michigan, in and around the capital city. If you need firewood because it's that time of the year to go with your muskox flannel shirt, good idea to get a hold of Harper Hill Forestry. It's a local Michigan company. We just got a pile of wood for our sauna. Oh, it's great. Great hardwoods, any size you need. If you got one of those big outdoor burners, no big deal. They'll cut it to size, whatever you need. They got piles of trees. You need firewood, find them on Google. It's Harper Hill. Or you can call them 517-927-6036. Mark's a good man. He'll bring you the best wood. He'll deliver right to your house, put it wherever you want it. Harper Hill. Find them on Google. Firewood. All right, stay warm. I'll be back. something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent. Come on, man. We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
All right, welcome to it. Glad to have you here as we fight for you from the foxhole of freedom every single day. Who do you want in your foxhole? It's an important question you have to answer for yourself every single day. All right, three big things this hour. Number one, a concrete solution to the problem of torn up roads in America. That's number one. Michigan State could have an answer. Number two, Donald Trump using the government shutdown to do something no president has ever done. That is to cut the bloated Democrat-run bureaucracies. And number three, this one just came up. And I want you to hear this because it's important. A federal judge has ruled in favor of allowing the Supreme Court over trans athletes to proceed. All right, this is a big deal. The legal defense to save women's sports scored a big win in the Supreme Court battle over transgender athletes this week. You probably haven't heard about this. Again, we try to dig deeper, pull back the curtain, find stuff that is important to you and to me that maybe you're not hearing about. After an Idaho trans athlete tried to have the potential landmark SCOTUS case dropped, a federal judge struck down the attempt to dismiss it and ruled the case should proceed. U.S. District Judge David Nye, appointed by Donald Trump all the way back in 2017, rejected former Boise State trans athlete Lindsay Heacock's mission and motion to dismiss the case. The trans athlete started the legal battle in 2020, but tried to have it dismissed in September after the Supreme Court agreed in July to hear the case. You see, they don't want it to go forward. They realize they're going to lose, most likely. Nye emphasized that after years of litigation, Idaho has a fair right to have its arguments heard and adjudicated once and for all. The court feels Heacock's mootness argument is, as above, somewhat manipulative to avoid Supreme Court review and should not be endorsed. Well, I dropped the case. It's no longer a deal. I don't want the case anymore. Too bad. You started us down this road. The Little v. Heacock's lawsuit was initially filed by Heacock's 2020. When the trans athlete wanted to join the women's cross-country team at Boise State University in Idaho. Had the state's law to prevent trans athletes from competing in women's sports blocked. Heacock's, joined by an anonymous biological female student, Jane Doe, who was concerned about the potential of being subjected to a sex dispute verification process. The challenge successful as a federal judge blocked Idaho's state law. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld an injunction blocking the state law in 2023 before the Supreme Court agreed to hear the case in July. Heacock's then asked SCOTUS last month to drop the challenge, claiming the athlete has therefore decided to permanently withdraw and refrain from playing any women's sports at BSU or in Idaho. Too bad. You raised the question. The defense team, led by Idaho's Attorney General Raul Labrador and Alliance Defending Freedom attorney Kristen Wagner, pushed back against Heacock's attempt to end the legal battle before it reached the Supreme Court, arguing dismissal violated the agreed-upon stay. There was a stay in the case, you see. You can't just violate that. I need one of my attorney friends to get in on this. Here is the argument. From day one in office, defending this law has been a top priority because Idaho's daughters deserve fair competition based on biological reality. Reality. The district court has ruled that years of litigation, Idaho has earned the right to present our case to the nation's highest court. The decision keeps our lawsuit alive, and I won't stop until women and girls are safe to compete, participate, and excel in competitive sports. Yeah. Leah Thomas, I told you when that case came forward, when Riley Gaines stepped up and said, hey, we're not going to allow this just to go ahead unchallenged. Well, I told you back then when that happened, that was the beginning of the end for this nonsense. And here we are. Heacock's efforts to have the case dropped aren't completely over, as SCOTUS must still rule on whether the case is moot. But Labrador and his team believe Nye's ruling is a good sign for their side. Ultimately, the defense in this case is looking for a bigger picture outcome than simply whether Heacock's can play women's sports. Labrador told Fox he's calling for the court to protect the rights of states to protect women's sports as they should be able to. This is not a heavy lift, folks. It's not a heavy lift. Biological dimorphism is an elementary school level understanding. And biological dimorphism is simply this. There are differences between men and women. That's it. And there are. I mean, who would dispute such a thing? Just because you feel a certain way doesn't make it true. I feel like a billionaire. I identify as a billionaire. I'm going to go over to the local airport and get a private jet. Well, you can't pay for that, sir. Yes, but I identify as a billionaire, so just pay the bill. Please. Such utter nonsense. The defense in this case is looking for the bigger picture outcome. As I said, Labrador previously said he hopes for the Supreme Court to cast a decision with a wider impact than just setting one state to carry out its own specific law on the issue. He wants a new national precedent. I believe that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to have a big ruling on whether men can participate in women's sports, and more importantly, how to determine whether transgender individuals are protected by the federal Constitution, state and federal laws. Of course they're protected by the Constitution. They have free speech. They have the right to assemble for a redress of their grievances. They have the right to keep and bear arms. They have a right against self-incrimination. They have all those constitutional rights. But they don't have the right to invade women's spaces because they identify as a woman. They don't have the right, as we already talked about earlier today, to walk into a women's locker room or restroom and expose themselves to the actual women and girls in those places. You don't have that right. Because you feel a certain way, just because you feel that way doesn't make it right. Labrador's case, just one of two, focused on the issue of trans athletes in women's sports. It will be heard by the Supreme Court. West Virginia, which enacted the Save Women's Sports Act in 2021, is appealing a lower court ruling that allowed transgender athlete Becky Pepper Jackson to compete on the school's cross-country and track teams. This past year, Pepper Jackson qualified for the West Virginia girls' high school track meet, the state meet, finishing third in discus and eighth in the shot put. The Fourth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of Pepper Jackson, who has been taking puberty-blocking medication, in an April 2024 ruling based on the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause. Now, how about protection for the women, for the girls, for common sense? This is not a heavy lift. This is a 90-10 issue. It's not even an 80-20, friends. It's a 90-10 issue as far as I'm concerned. No question about it. It's a big deal. I'm glad the Supreme Court's moving forward. Let's hope that they keep the case and it doesn't have some issue that it runs into. All right? Let's make sure it doesn't have an issue that it runs into. If you're in business and you're wondering why your business isn't taking off, or it seems to be, stalled, or it's flat, or going the wrong way, what are you doing about it? Would you like some free help? If you're in sales and you want to be better at it, do you want some free help? Gruber10x.com. I'm working with Grant Cardone, the man that wrote the 10x rule, helping people to pursue the best in business that they can get to. If you're not sure, take the free phone call. Normally it's $500. Today it's free. Gruber10x.com. If you're in business, if you know anybody in business, get them to go there. Gruber10x.com. You've got nothing to lose. It's a free phone call worth $500. What else can I offer you today? It's the best deal all day you're going to get. Gruber10x.com. I'll be right back. All right, let's get our running shoes on. We're about to run all over the state of Michigan. We do it every Wednesday with my good friend Ron Rademacher, who gets out there, gets lost, finds cool things, and then shares it with you right here. And right now, the coolest thing, fall colors coming in. And Ron is with me. Ron, good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning, Stevie. How are you?
I'm good. Observation for you. I was in the Northern Compound this past weekend for 3 days. Loved it, by the way. But the fall color's not real bold, and I've noticed, this is my observation. We had a drought this year, a very, very dry year across much of Michigan. When we have dry years, the fall colors don't seem to be as brilliant. They're still good, they're still nice, but they don't seem to be as bold. Am I right or wrong?
Oddly enough, you're right this time. And those conditions do prevail. But as we've been traveling a lot, different parts of the state have not had the drought conditions like they did up and around the Northern Compound.
Right.
There are patchy places where you'll go through where, in fact, Oceana County, the colors are incredible right now.
Good.
And the Western Upper Peninsula also, they're incredible. They had normal to wet conditions.
All right.
So yes, check your weather reports and find out where to go. And you're going to have great color certain areas, and you're not going to have so great other areas.
Well, there you go. All right, there you go. All right, carry on.
So I got a couple of shout outs. One to our buddy Tom Swintek. You may not remember him. He's the man who's so smart that he figured out how to make a great living selling ribbons. He's a regular listener. He sent me a notice this morning, but I'd already had it on the list in Lansing. It is the 51st Apple Butter Festival at Fenner Nature Center.
Oh,
October 18th.
Nice place. By the way,
Yep,
shout out to Fenner Nature Center.
Cider. And so he wanted to let me know because he's a big fan of that place, supports Fenner. And so, Tom, I already had it on the list.
Love that place.
Speaking of cider, it's a great, it's one of the great ones. Our buddy Bob Barkham, I was there last Saturday. It was terrific. And for you, Steve, that apple you wanted to know about, the special apple?
Dude, they're white inside. They are white.
It is white. It is white inside. That's an Empire. That's what Bob told me, Empire. And I brought a couple home. Fantastic flavor.
Oh, they're great. Look, I'm a Honeycrisp guy. This Empire might be my new favorite. I'm not kidding you. They're that good. And if you want to find them, Bob Barkham, by the way, they're Hazlitt, Michigan, out on Hazlitt Road. Had a bit of a tug of war with the township to get it done, but he's got everything for fall. The best mums, the best apples, the best cider, the best donuts, plus pumpkins and gourds and all the things you want.
I'm going to post on Facebook later the picture of the mums. And some of the people who came up to talk to me while I was there said that they are going to start a petition that he should change it from Barkham Creek Farms to Barkham's Everything's Awesome Farms. Because everything he's got, I mean, everything, even in the cider, we're hoarding his cider. I brought a bunch home. I said to Kathy, we're going to give it away to different friends. She tried it and said, they're out of luck.
They just lost, yeah.
They can go down there and get their own.
Yeah, don't forget to tell your mom. Right.
Yeah. So one more piece of important news. A couple of weeks ago, I told you about the ATV trip up at Scanny, up in the Huron Mountains, that you could go out to areas that were not normally available to the public.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many inquiries I had, phone calls, emails, wanting to repeat it. Well, of course, it was sold out before anybody could get to it. So it was in Scanny, and I'm just going to make a note that next year we'll let people know well ahead of time on this program when that event takes place. If you want more information, just get a hold of the Berga County Chamber of Commerce. There's a link there. You can contact them directly without waiting for Steve and I to remember to talk about it next year. So
asking us to remember something. Come on now.
Yeah. Getting carried away.
There you go. All right, what else you got there?
I want to do another really important one because we get carried away here. But I'm talking about river trails for going to see color. And if you want to avoid drought conditions, one good place to do that is along the rivers. And if you've never paddled the Pine River,
beautiful place.
I can't recommend it enough. It is a designated wild and scenic river. It's just north of Baldwin, And the colors along that thing are fantastic. And if you've never been on a wild and scenic river, these are preserved to keep the natural conditions and the natural flow. So
Right.
you're not going to be going along a lot of development. Terrific river to go, and the
It's a
colors are good
beautiful
up
river.
there right now too.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful river. I thumbs up to that. Agreed.
Yeah, it's a great one. I know some of the guys are going to be angry with me for talking about it because they don't want everybody to know about it, but it's just too cool it's just too cool.
Right.
One more here, Steve, and maybe you can help me with this one. I don't know how much time we have left, but I don't believe I actually missed this festival all these years. We're going to try to get over there. In Birch Run, they're having the Earthworm Festival. And activities include tours of the...
Where do you find this stuff, Ron?
Tours of the Worm
Festival.
Barn. You can't beat that. Worm castings and merchandise for sale, children's activities, and food trucks.
Food trucks. Where's the beer? Do they have like worm races?
Very, very possible. They have to have those indoors so that the birds can't interrupt the flow of things,
Yeah.
But yeah, the Earthworm Festival in Birch Run, there's always something cool going on in Michigan.
There is. And the last one, for those that are brave of heart, I see it on here. You didn't mention it. Boyne Falls, the Sky Bridge, the glass bridge. Ivy didn't care for this. You get out off it. It's the biggest wooden suspension bridge in the world. You walk out, and it's glass in the middle. So you're looking down, I don't know, a few hundred feet, whatever it is. It's great.
For those of you suffering from vertigo, this is not the place to go.
Not
but you're
the
up, and I'm gonna post a picture from last year. The colors are incredible views on that.
It's
on that
awesome
sky.
this time
Absolutely.
of the year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Stay out
absolutely.
of the hard cider before you go on it, but then enjoy your trip. MichiganBackroads.com, MichiganBackroads.com, MichiganBackroads.com. And again, if you're anywhere in the southern Michigan area, give Bob Barkham a try. You're going to be really impressed with Bob's operation there. It is cool.
Yeah,
all right.
it's amazing.
Ron, good luck out there. We're counting on you.
Thank you, brother. I will talk to you later. Try to keep out of trouble.
All right. Back after this. How about this? I find all these tidbits. I'm trying to share more of these things with you. You take a nugget with you here and a nugget with you there. You stuff your pockets with information nuggets and your brain too, and you can have some, things to talk about when you're around the water cooler or on the phone with your friends. The largest male great white shark ever recorded in the Atlantic Ocean has reemerged. Luckily, not next to my boat. Contender is the shark's name. Largest male great white ever recorded is on the move. Recently pinged off the coast of Quebec, Pointe Parinte, Quebec. O-Search is a company that tagged Contender, recorded his last ping September 29. Contender, 14 feet long, weighs 1,650 pounds plus. He's a big fella. First tagged off from Florida in January. Going north ever since. Last location was off the coast of Massachusetts in July. Well, there he is. A month before that, recorded 22 miles off the shores of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. He's on the move. White sharks like Contender will move north during the summer, seeking cooler waters. So typically as fall begins, the sharks would migrate back south towards the southeastern U.S., but The shark's incredible ability to travel long distances allows them to navigate vast ocean spaces efficiently. Pretty cool story, right? But why is he way up off the shores of Quebec, Canada?
Let's go catch it.
Contender. Wouldn't that'd be a fight for you? 1,700-pound fish. Woo! Better have some real line on that deal, right? Otherwise, you're going to have a real mess on your hands, no question. This part of the program brought to you by NeuroGuard. My good friends at NeuroGuard have created a mouth guard that will prevent concussions almost completely. It comes from Dr. Michael Hutchinson from Traverse City, Michigan. This mouth guard goes on your mandible. My son's been wearing it in football for the last 3 years, 0 concussions. It reduces concussions to less than 0.26% of the time, less than 0.26% of the time. It's been tested by Michigan State University and Wayne State University. Those football teams should be using it too, I would think. The NeuroGuard Plus. You can find it at NeuroGuardPlus.com. The promo code is Gruber to save 10%. And thank you to Dr. Michael Hutchinson for being a longtime supporter of this program. Support him at NeuroGuardPlus.com. I'll be right back. All right, you remember how this came together. Selfridge Air National Guard Base, I should say, to be specific. Getting a fleet of fighter jets coming in, and State Representative Alicia St. Germain of Harrison Township among those applauding $26 million investment in Selfridge. The final state budget will include that funding for the Selfridge Air National Guard base in Macomb County. She is joining me now. Alicia, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, there's just something when you see these jets fly over that gives me a pride in America. It's unlike anything else. Whether you're at a football game or you just happen to be out and about and you see them come by, because we have a few stationed here in Michigan, it is a remarkable thing. For me, it just gives me that pride. How about you?
It is. We're so fortunate where I live on the edge of Lake St. Clair over here.
Right.
Lived here, 30 years. And to hear these jets fly over, it's just a sense of pride, like you said, and sense of freedom. I still remember, I'm old enough to remember 9/11 when those jets flew out of Selfridge. It was just, a go get 'em type of feeling,
Yeah.
a sense of protection.
So tell me about the budgeting. What is this going to include? The $26 million, what's it for? What does it mean? We're getting 21 of these jets, by the way.
Yep,
and a
21.
squadron of KC-46A Pegasus refueling takers. I flew on KC-135s probably 20 years ago now. They're a remarkable plane to be in as well. These flying gas stations, it's all pretty cool. But what's the money going for?
So the runway, the way it sits right now, is there needs to be a clearing zone on each, on each side. So what Selfridge will do is kind of divert the runway and create a clearing zone on the north and south end.
So what
The money will also,
go ahead. No, I was just going to say, go ahead.
And also some new hangars too. So we need some upgrades, new hangars, other infrastructure needs.
So it's a big project. It's a long-term commitment from the United States military for that base. 21 fighter jets. And look, we have around Michigan a portion of the largest undefended border in the world, 4,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in need of being guarded. Even though you may not have troops stationed on the border, it's something that we need to be mindful of. This long border is important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yep. This is our national defense. And it's not just important to Macomb County, but our state and country.
So you're joining with Ron Robinson of Utica.
Yeah, great guy.
On this, right? All right. So where are the Democrats?
Well, as you know, we control the House, and we have a speaker, Speaker Hall, who has a powerful voice, not just in Michigan, but in at our capital with President Trump. So it was a joint effort.
Let's talk about the budget just for a moment here, because this is part of the bigger budget, obviously. $81 billion. Trimmed back. It finally is going the other way, the right direction. Not as far as Matt Hall, the speaker, would have liked, or you, I'm sure, but at least we started some progress in the right direction. Is that how you look at the budget?
Progress with essential needs, and not the pork projects, the pickleball courts, and all the unnecessary things that taxpayers should not be on the line to pay for.
Yeah. A lot of pet projects that get squandered out there. So as you look, obviously, we're coming to the close of 2025. This was the biggest item to get handled, the budget, of course. What are your priorities for 2026? Obviously, a midterm election, that's really important and a priority. But what about policy priorities? What are you hearing from the speaker? What are you hearing from leadership?
To continue, with a conservative budget.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you make of Gretchen Whitmer out there bragging about how she's gotten so much done for the roads in Michigan? Because for me, I read the numbers, and it said that about 1 to 1.5% of Michigan roads are repaired annually under what she's been doing for the last several years. 1 to 1.5%. Meaning it would take, 50 years to fix the roads in Michigan? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
It doesn't. It's our local roads that really need attention. It's the number one call to our cities and villages and townships from constituents. Please help us fix the roads. They're in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, they're in pretty bad shape. Well, Congratulations on the infrastructure there in Macomb County. That's a big deal for Selfridge, a big deal for Michigan, and a big deal for me. I'm proud that we have these jets here, and their F-15EX Eagle II fighter jets, brand new, 21 of them.
Yep.
Really cool.
Me too. Yeah, very cool.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Alicia St. Germain, everybody. There you have it. By the way, speaking of government and trimming back waste, right? President Trump doing something that I don't think anybody's ever done. He is swinging the axe on bloated Democrat-run bureaucracies that have taken trillions from Americans like you and me. Trillions. Nancy Pelosi and her party claim chaos, and Trump is turning crisis into clarity, freezing $26 billion in blue state pork, halting green energy pet projects, directing departments to prepare reduction in force plans, part of a broader review of spending and accountability. Those plans, by the way, are now in motion. OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, confirmed that federal layoffs have begun. Cuts underway in health, homeland security, commerce. The Democrats call it chaos. Sounds more like a cleanup. Cleaning up the waste, fraud, and abuse. A reckoning long overdue in that swamp we call the deep state. Right? For the first time in modern history, a shutdown isn't about stalling. It's about a president reshaping Washington for the people. Not to mention all of those nominations that got pushed through. Shutdowns of the past stand in stark contrast. You look at the shutdowns in 1995 and 96. Washington clashed over how to balance the budget and rein in spending. The government shut down twice for 26 days. Parks closed, workers furloughed, each side blaming the others. A lot of that going on still. The longest shutdown, 35 days, and then Washington fell back into the same pattern. This time, you heard him yesterday say, look, we're getting rid of programs that are never coming back. We're getting rid of programs that are never coming back. So the panic, the finger pointing, the nonsense, okay, that's all fine and well, but Donald Trump is getting rid of spending that is not necessary. And look, I don't feel good about people that are going to lose their jobs. I'm sorry about that, but when companies are too big, they scale back. And sometimes people get hurt by that. I don't applaud that. I don't take joy in that or pleasure in that, but I do tell you this. Other jobs are available. Other opportunities are available. When one door closes, a window opens. And the truth of the matter is this. We need to rein in the spending of the federal government. Stop these silly projects, whether it's pickleball courts or any other darn thing. Stop wasting the taxpayer money on pet projects to buy votes in your district or your state. Stop it. And scale back these agencies that have gotten completely overbloated and out of control. I applaud the scaling back and the reducing of spending and the respect for the American taxpayer. I think it's all a good idea. I also think it's a good idea to clear the decks, roll out the red carpet, and bring Ivy in. What do you say? I'll be right back. 20 miles is not going to do it, babe. I'm telling you, it's not. I'm working diligently here to find a solution for Ivy, who joins me now. Good morning, Ivy, but she hates her chair. She has no place to set her coffee. I cannot work in conditions like this.
Good morning, Steve. Yeah, I was voicing my complaints in the break.
Yeah. Look, you run this place. You can get anything you want. You want chairs, we'll get chairs. But look, I do roam around on Marketplace, and there are some, now we might find what you want there. I mean, here's the thing about furniture. We've talked about this. It's either junk or it's mortgage your house. There's no middle ground here anymore.
Right? It's interesting. Even I went on IKEA, which, it's...
I get it.
That's not really what I want. But their chairs were still like $300, $400, $500.
Yeah, exactly.
For like something that looked terrible. But anyhow, I was reading a story earlier about the ICE agents in Chicago being targeted, and there are certain groups that come together. They talk on programs or apps like Signal, and they give information to where the ICE groups are going to be.
So that it's like real-time doxing.
Real-time doxing, yeah. And did you see that the cartels have hits out for different levels of ICE agents? So like here, the federal agency alleges cartels are offering $2,000 for intelligence gathering and doxing of agents, $5,000 to $10,000 for kidnapping or non-lethal assaults on standard ICE CBP officers, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials.
Assassination? Who's offering this?
Cartels. Gangs like Latin Kings have also deployed spotters armed with firearms and radio communications to provide the real-time movements of CBP and ICE agents.
Unacceptable. Completely
unbelievable, right?
I mean, that these people ought to be tracked down and arrested if you can find them.
So I did see, I know Libs of TikTok and some other people are following these groups. Like there are people that are getting infiltrated into these groups, and then they're bringing it to the attention of DHS and FBI. And so there are some things being done about them, but then they shut those pages down because this was also happening in Portland. And so they actually shut the page down that was associated in Portland. I don't know if they've done that for the Chicago one. But I mean, I guess, when you talk about these apps that allow for these places with private discussion, it is a bit concerning when you're talking about, the murder of, these high-ranking officials in ICE. And that is just terrible. I mean, they're doing their job. They're targeting, terrorists in our country, terrorists being those who are bringing in illegal drugs to fill our streets and destroy our people. I also saw in this other video. Did you see that video I sent you, Steve, the other day, where there was a guy who was a Free Palestine protester, and he actually was being interviewed by someone, and he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm so sad that the war is over because now I'm not gonna have any money for my protesting dollars. And I'm like, what? I'm like, is this real?
Yes.
I mean, we know that the protesters do get paid.
Yeah, the Rent-A-Riot.
Right.
There are companies that staff protests.
Mm-hmm.
That's their business model. They staff protests.
Right.
I hear there's some more of these No Kings protests going on that should attract at least 12 or 14 people coming up over the weekend. It's nutty, right?
Yeah.
It's just nutty.
Well, it's unfortunate. I mean, I actually subscribe to some of these things so that I can see what's going on and what's happening in our area. So I get these emails, and I follow and see, pictures and things online. But it's just, when you're talking about evil, I mean, those things are evil.
Well, here's the thing. We've said it here a number of times, but back to the doxing in real time of these police officers doing their job, by the way. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to get killed. And we saw the attack in Dallas, mm-hmm. where the maniac fired into the van, killed immigrants, killed people here, didn't kill any of the officers, but tried.
Right.
We're going to see people get killed, and I'm going to tell you when that happens, mm-hmm. because it's inevitable the way these people are operating. The way we've got to in Chicago and elsewhere we must resist and fight back mm-hmm. against the police. And when that happens,
I
the
can tell you that
entire
the
narrative is
residents of
gonna change.
Chicago, the ones that are actually living there, they actually are very appreciative of the actions that are happening. Because I can tell you, remember, you and I were not there. What was it, a year and a half ago,
Yep.
maybe? We were in Chicago.
Well, I
we
was
saw
there
we
for the
saw drug
DNC.
deals go down right across the street from our Airbnb.
Yeah, we were there for the
I mean,
Democratic National Convention. We saw deals go down,
yeah.
right?
And this is on a pretty normal neighborhood in downtown Chicago.
Didn't think it was a particularly bad neighborhood, but then that happened, and you're like, wait a second.
Right. And then you feel really uncomfortable and you're like, oh my gosh, this is scary. And anyhow, I want to like change directions here for a moment because you were talking about earlier, you know, with a guest about, you know, these transgender men, biological men, wanting to go into the locker rooms and have, you know, equal opportunity to access the women's locker room.
Right.
Why is it that the transgender people, especially those that are biological men, are so that their priority is accessing the women's locker room?
Well, we did the story here.
Why? I don't understand. Like, why is that so important to you? You don't see it on the other side. You don't see like women wanting to go into the men's locker room all the time. We're not hearing those stories.
No, Kendall Teets, an investigative reporter defending education, was here in hour 2 talking about a man posing as a woman who now has 20 charges for exposing himself to the women and girls at this public pool. I mean, it's pretty obvious why they want access. It's just not right. Just not right, and it's not even worthy of discussion. It is so beyond the pale. It is not worthy of discussion, in my estimation. I got to leave it there, Ivy, but you're exactly right. It's a 90-10 issue. All right.
Well, it is unacceptable in any way, and it is evil. And people who are having to deal with this need to
wake up,
find people who can give their time and sue these companies who are doing this, because this is evil.
Wrong. Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Some final thoughts on this Wednesday after this. right. Well, it is fall in the air. Yeah, it's going to be a sloppy football game tonight, I'll tell you that. How do I know? Because, well, it's raining, and so it's going to be sloppy conditions for the football game. We have football games every Wednesday in our world, which is fun. Team is undefeated. Yeah, monsters of the Midway they are. And anyhow, so that's what is on our tap for today. What are you guys doing? It's fall. It's a beautiful time of the year. I love it, actually. We talked about it earlier with Ron Rademacher, you know, cider and donuts and fall colors and all the great things you can do. Enjoy it out there. It's the best time of the year. Put on that musk ox, get out there, you know, enjoy it. Get the firewood stacked and ready for winter. It's all of these things happening. And by the way, if you missed it again, Harper Hill Forestry Products in the Lansing area, they're our firewood supplier. It is a great company. Mark's a great man. You can find Harper Hill on Google for firewood. Look under firewood, Google it. Harper Hill, you're going to find everything you need. Do people still Google things? I don't so much anymore. I go AI all the time to find all my information. But we got our load of firewood because we have a wood-fired sauna here. And trust me, if you want to get out the poison and get into some deep thinking, sauna. Sauna, my friends, that is the place to be. No question about that. Yeah. All right. So glad you were here. For the rest of the week, we've got a lot to cover. We're going to be talking about Xi Jinping and Donald Trump meeting in South Korea. That's a big meeting coming up just in a couple of weeks. Just announced. And it comes at a time when Donald Trump is ratcheting up tariffs on China. China's trying not to buy soybeans to punish American farmers. Well, a lot to talk about. October 31, November 1, that's going to be happening. Okay, and we'll cover it here in great detail. Remember to slap the like button. Tell your friends. Gather around the campfire. You'll learn more here than anywhere else. You are the best educated listeners and viewers in media today. Fight the good fight and keep the faith. God bless America, my friends. I'm Steve Gruber. This is the Steve Gruber Show. Remember, together, we can save America. Work harder, be better. Talk soon.